Hunter Biden. Oh, baby. Hunter Biden gets the pardon. How good is that, huh? How good is it? How good must it feel if you're Hunter Biden right now? And here's the thing, right? They said it couldn't be done. Sorry. They said they wouldn't do it. My mistake. I misspoke. They said they weren't going to do it. And by they, Joe Biden, every mainstream media, left-wing mainstream media, everybody who works at the White House, the guy who I buy bagels from, everybody said it would not be done because they're better than that. Joe Biden, crazy Joe Biden. I was trying to think, what's his nickname, Joe Biden? Crazy Joe? Sleepy Joe Biden. Sounds like I'm Sleepy Danny Polishchuk right here because I couldn't remember it there for a second. They said it wouldn't be done. It's been done. I don't blame Joe Biden for doing it. I don't have any children. I see a lot of people with children. They go, if this was my son, I would absolutely pardon him. And yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. Joe Biden's claiming a bit of lawfare right now, I suppose. That's what he's doing. He actually, he put out a little press release yesterday. By the way, if you bet on Polymarket for Joe Biden to pardon his son, you just cashed out big time because I think it was only like a 20% chance or something. So, cha-ching, some guy apparently bet 88 grand. Turn that into cool 350K because he was the only one who had the fucking stones, or he had insider information, at which point, let's hope he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But Joe Biden put out this thing. He says, no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong. Mr. Biden said in a statement announcing the pardon, here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. First off, last I checked, the head of the Department of Justice is Merrick Garland, who he put in. It's his Justice Department, right? So, those are your guys. You're saying they gave you the raw deal? Are they the ones who kind of dicked you over? Because if that's the case, I suppose it's possible. And now, being, I guess, the most generous I could be here, it was I don't want to say it was a flimsy case. He obviously committed crimes. Would he have been prosecuted if he wasn't Joe Biden's son? Probably not. All he did was fill out a form wrong. And now I know this country loves to put you in jail for filling out forms wrong. Guys, I'm having some problems speaking, but we'll get there. But this country, they love just like locking you in a cage because you checked no accidentally on a box. But apparently you can't get a gun if you use drugs. Reasonable. Some of you are probably saying right now, that is not reasonable. Give me my guns. Give me my drugs. But, some places in America, I don't know if that's everywhere in America. That might be state by state. There might be some states who are like, we're the super chill state. Like Vermont. They go, drugs, guns, super chill. We're the chillest state that exists. Right? But, there's a case to be made that maybe they only went after Hunter Biden. Maybe the whole plan all along, now that I'm thinking about it, was they wanted to get Trump. So they go, do all the crazy stuff. Throw everything you got at Trump. Let's just gin up all these charges, all this stuff. And then to make it not look so bad, we're going to go after Hunter Biden, knowing full well that he goes, it's all good, right? Because we go after Trump. Maybe Trump loses the election. Maybe Trump loses the election, gets convicted, loses the election. That's taken care of. And then you have this Hunter Biden conviction, which you go, just pardon him for that. Just give him a little pardon. And then they win, right? And then if he's wrong and he goes, hey, if Trump wins and we lose, then I pardon him anyways. So it seemed like strategically not the worst thing to do. some people right now, which is personally disgusting to me as a male feminist, they're blaming Jill Biden. There's all these reports saying that they're like, yeah, it wasn't even his idea. Jill Biden put him up to it. Dr. Jill. Really? A strong, independent man like Joe Biden can't just make his own decisions on who he would like to pardon or commute? It's not up to him? He's not... A woman has to put him up to such nefarious activities? My word. It's disgusting that in the year 2024, soon to be 2025, people still hold beliefs like this, where they want to blame it on a woman. It's the original sin right here. This is Adam and Eve again with this, where they go, hey, I didn't eat the apple. That bitch ate the apple. I guess you can't call her a bitch, but you know what I mean. They made her eat the apple. Joe Biden, right? And there are some odd things with his pardon. And again, presidential pardons, not the most uncommon thing. They happen all the time. I was kind of going back to see presidents who they pardoned. George W. actually didn't have any really crazy pardons. His were kind of all normal, to be honest. Obviously, Trump last time around pardoned all the people who were convicted of just knowing him and associating with him. I didn't look too much in the Obama ones. Old Willie Bill Clinton, though, pardoned his goddamn brother for drug charges. His brother had drug charges, and then his brother got arrested a year later for a DUI. Sometimes you can't help people. Sometimes people just need to help themselves, Sometimes as much as you want to help someone, they just can't help themselves, right? But so the pardon that they gave Hunter Biden goes back to 2014. He got an 11-year, almost full 11-year pardon against any crimes that he has committed or may have committed, which is pretty sick if you think about it, that because he was convicted of some crimes. We saw his laptop, which had many more crimes on them. Think about all the crimes he committed that we don't know about. So many. This is a jackpot for him. He probably is like, holy shit. Like, does that apply to murders? I don't know. Actually, I think things that don't have a statute of limitations actually do not apply to this. I could be wrong. Maybe if the statute of limitations, maybe if they occurred during that period. Because come on, you're trying to tell me it's the craziest thing in the world that Hunter was partying with a couple escorts? One of them accidentally died? Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard of in your life? And then he gets some of his, big time buddies up in Washington to help him bury the body? It's not the craziest thing, right? But so it goes all the way back to 2014, which coincidentally, I believe it was January. I don't know if it's January 1st, sometime in January 2014 is when the pardon goes back to, which is when he happened to start working for that Ukrainian gas firm, Burisma. Plus, excuse me, his involvement in China. I saw a tweet, I believe from Mike Cernovich, who I don't want to steal his stuff here, but he made a good point that he technically should have commuted his sentence. That would have been probably, if you weren't worried about all these other crimes, you can just, because that's the thing is presidents, they pardon and they commute. You basically say, hey, you don't got to do any time here. Mark in the chat says Obama pardoned a murderer. So there you go. I think a lot of murderers get pardoned. I think a lot of times a bunch of the Weather Underground people got pardoned, I believe, by Bill Clinton. People who for sure commit murders get pardoned. They go, yeah, you've been in jail for 40 years. Plus, your brother is a heavy contributor to the DNC. At the end of the day, you look into a lot of this stuff. When they say it's not it is who you know. It's also who you blow. If you are hanging out with Hunter Biden. But it's really who you know and how much money you give to certain people. Because people they just hand, it's not some fucking schlub with no connections getting pardons. Maybe sometimes, but you still need Kim Kardashian to raise your case or whatever the hell. Bring it up and somehow get it, to the president. But anyways, he probably should have commuted it. That would have been the politically fair thing to do. You go, hey, this is kind of an unfair thing, but we're not just pardoning him. But no, they pardoned him for any crimes committed 2014 and forward. He had tax fraud, money laundering, I believe, gun charges. The statute of limitations on these things is 6 and 5 years. So you didn't need the 11 years. The 11 years is a weird one, unless, of course, you did some bad things, Hunter and Joe. This has been brought up as well, which is that should Hunter Biden now be subpoenaed and formally deposed on any of the things, he can't lie about any of this stuff. It's like that last episode of The Shield. You ever see The Shield, the last episode? Oh man, I don't want to ruin it for you, but they basically are like, anything you admit to, you'll be absolved of. But if you don't admit to stuff and we catch you, you're liable for it. And he just admits to fucking everything he's ever done as a dirty drug squad cop. Right. But so anyways, if Hunter Biden, he now has to tell the truth about everything, which could, I guess, implicate Joe Biden, which means, and I actually looked to bet on this on Polymarket today. You can't, but he's going to pardon himself. Right. And he's so cooked, and we all know he's so cooked. Is he even really the president right now? He's going to go pardon himself. And then he's going to have to. He's going to pardon himself. Just going to be like, I don't know what's going on. Can you do that? Can you pardon yourself? Of course you can. They were saying Trump was going to pardon himself. That would be so funny. They were saying it forever. They're like, Trump's going to pardon himself. Trump didn't pardon himself. And now I bet you Joe Biden's going to pardon himself because you now have these 5 years of what I can only describe as malarkey happening. I'm sure that's how Joe Biden would describe it. That was 5 years of just unbridled, unmitigated malarkey. So he's going to pardon himself. Maybe Fauci. Maybe the move is he does this is the 4D chess move, is he pardons himself and Trump. He goes, look, let's just bygones be bygones. I don't want no smoke, even though Trump's the president, so he can't really get in trouble for now. But maybe he gives him one of those. He goes, we're going to pardon me. I'm going to pardon Fauci because I know you got a fucking raging hard on for that guy. And pardon Trump, right? And that's the way you do it. By the way, I looked to see if Canada does pardons. They don't. I don't know if anywhere, any real, democracy. I know this is people get mad when I call America democracy. It's a constitutional republic, right? But it is a weird quirk of this constitutional republic where the president just on his way out. I mean, I know they can do it throughout the term, but on the way out, it just goes, who everybody was good to me, really greased me up, has a boat waiting for me. Let's just pardon them all. Right? And isn't the point of a constitutional republic that the president doesn't have this unchecked power? I thought that was the point. Is that so the president cannot behave like a king, right? And then on the last day, they go, hey, last day, though, you can kind of not even last day. We're a month and almost 2 months out. Last 2 months, you go, hey, man, king shit right now. Start pardoning people. Just have fun, man. Have fun with it. You can pardon. It starts with the turkey. That's probably how it started. That's probably not how it started, but probably goes, yeah, we'll pardon this turkey. And they go, who else can we pardon? What about my buddy who got popped for insider trading? Can I get him? They go, I don't see why not. I mean, who's going to stop you? Who is going to stop you? Right? And I will say as well, there's some people who are mad about this, which is maybe the most delusional take in the world. Like the people who are like, a politician lie. Like, come on. We know that they all do. Now, I understand that it's mostly people on the left who are mad because they think they're, for the most part, better than everybody. They think they are the moral people. I was going to say the Keith Olbermanns of the world, but he's actually pretty pumped about this. He was like, let's pardon Hunter Biden and then go pardon another 10 million people. Just really set the tone here of what it's going to be like. But, people on the left are mad, and fairly so, because for the last year, Joe Biden said that he wasn't going to pardon Hunter Biden. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to respect the courts. No, he got a community note on a tweet of his from 6 months ago that says, no one is above the law. And then there's a community note that says some people are, in fact, above the law. And, he obviously said that he wouldn't pardon him because he wanted to win an election, because that's just politics, is you say things you don't mean, you lie. Fair enough. I don't really hold it against him. It sounds like he just knew he was going to do it, or at least was leaning towards it, and then that snake and Eve made him do it. He didn't want to do it. But again, he just, you say shit. You're a politician. The people who are like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually walked by someone's house the other day near my house, and they still in their window had a Biden Harris poster. Not ironically. I can assure you it was not ironically. It's like they chose to live in some sort of alternate, like they just were like, you know what, it's summer all the time. It's still early June when it was still Biden Harris, and they're just in their mind, they go, we're running it back. Biden Harris, baby. Some people are worried that his reputation will be tarnished. God forbid Joe Biden tarnishes his reputation. I think his reputation is fairly tarnished at this point. He's got the whole Ukraine starting, kind of firing off World War III for no really great reason, giving them endless sums of money, which, I guess some people are in favor of that. He could have gone out, if he just wanted to be that two-time VP. Remember he got the medal where Obama pinned him with the medal, and it was like a surprise though when he was like crying. Man, if you went out on that, legend. You still get to keep all your money, still get to run your old Biden crime syndicate, all that stuff. Maybe you don't have the influence to sell anymore that you would as president. And I can't judge. Obviously, the intoxicating power that is the president, it's hard to refuse. But he could have really gone out on top. And here's a funny thing. I was kind of, doing some research for this show. Can you believe I do research for this show? I do. And I was searching some Hunter Biden stuff, and I came across Hunter Biden on the Jimmy Kimmel show 2 years ago. Hunter Biden had a book. I didn't know this. Hunter Biden had a book. It's all about how he's a wacky drug addict who loves whores. Just loves them. And he's doing a little press tour. And he went on Jimmy Kimmel. And it is honestly pathetic to watch the way Jimmy Kimmel behaves. Jimmy Kimmel was like a girl in the 60s meeting fucking John Lennon or some shit, or Paul McCartney. Like he's glowing. He's absolutely glowing. Literally not one challenging question. It's just one softball after another. And to this day, and I didn't know this, but to this day, Hunter Biden still claims that he doesn't know if the laptop was his. He literally, that's still his story. He goes, that laptop, I don't know if that was mine. And Jimmy Kimmel just kind of laughs it off, being like, yeah, you were really fucked up on crack. I've never done crack. I've never done that much. I've never done any crack at all. I've done zero crack. I'm sure some people who are watching this have done a bunch of crack. I'm certain of that. But this whole thing where he's this hopeless, this is a 50-year-old man. And they're like, he's just like this hopeless drug addict. There's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can do. He was just on such a bender that he doesn't know if he owned that laptop. And you go, well, how did all that stuff get on there? He goes, beats me. Your guess is as good as mine. And Jimmy Kimmel's like, wow, I thought that was crazy. And then I read your book and I'm just surprised you're alive. I believe that you don't know that was your laptop because, man, those stories you tell. It was honestly not like Jimmy Kimmel is someone to look up to where you go, man, Jimmy Kimmel's really slipping, because obviously he's been slipping for some time, but goddamn, that was hard to watch. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. Jimmy Kimmel interviews Hunter Biden, but he went on this whole book tour, probably just to launder money. That's what Martin Shkreli told me. That's the big secret with books these politicians do, is they're all just money laundering operations. I didn't know that, but basically you just print a bunch of books and then sell them, and they just sell them for donations or whatever. You know, it's a way to funnel donations. You just go, hey, I sold 500,000 books. What kind of idiot is truly just reading Hunter Biden's book? I guess if you have like a substance abuse issue, maybe if you're like, but is he the guy you want to look up to? He has literally endless resources. He can go to every outpatient facility indefinitely whenever he wants, and he can fuck up and just go back. It's not relatable. Also, they keep referring to him. They keep saying Hunter Biden because he's like, my son, he's been sober for 5.5 years. Says who? He's not getting drug tested, is he? Like, he hasn't been sober for 5.5 years. I saw a video of him at the White House in the last few years. His jaw was going insane. Absolutely. Like, he was just like one of these things? That is not a sober man. And they just go, yeah, he's been sober for 5.5 years. And you go, okay. Well, good for him. I mean, good for him if that's true. I don't believe him. I don't believe him.